Some say on Halloween night, if you go past 7 black gates, you will see the 7 gates of hell. I thought it was a myth at first, until I tried it out. I went past 7 black gates around my neighborhood. Then, when I went to sleep, my dreams were of a furious fire. It stopped, and there was a man, tall and bulky. His eyes were rather squinted, showing his age, and his legs and hands were thin and looked as if they could barely support his weight. He spoke with a scratchy and dying tone, saying,
I have lost the magnificent Hallow.
Chuckling, he opened the gate. My whole body became numb, and I was unable to fight it as it moved on its own. Struggling did not work. Without any control of myself, I went through the first gate. I saw fire and corpses that were horribly mutilated, desecrated, and burned. They were sobbing so loudly that I couldn't even hear the crackles of the fire. One came to me, with one eye and bullet holes all over him. He said,
"We are the desecrated corpses who did not get a proper burial. We are to stay here till the judgment day."
I went past him and to the second gate. It was in a building. I was in a dungeon. There were people tied up, screaming in pain. One was being sawed in half very slowly, his body repeatedly healing, ready to be sawed again. One was in an Iron Maiden, with the door being open and closed, but never causing any visible harm. A man in an executioner's mask said to me,
We are the torturers, tortured by our own devices.
I went past him to the exit, towards the third gate. This time, I was in a forest. It was silent except for a few yells. There was a man hanging from a noose. Another man fell off a cliff, reappeared and fell off again. I began running away from a horribly burned woman chasing after me. I already knew what this one was. These were the people who committed suicide. I ran through the fourth gate, which was in a palace. Suddenly, I was in the palace, surrounded by emperors, politicians, and really wealthy people. An emperor was being gnawed on by lions. When the lion ripped a limb off or slashed him, the appendage grew back and the injury healed. A politician was being beaten by what looked like shadows in prisoners' clothes. A man in a suit came to me and said,
"We are the corrupt. The people who used our power to help ourselves, not others."
I walked to the next gate, the 5th. I was in another room. There was a man tied up on a bed, being lashed by floating, spiky leather whips. A woman was being burned by a lighter, but her screams and cries were muffled by a cloth that was used as a gag. A rather large man came up to me and said,
"We are the rapists and the sex offenders, paying for our crimes on Earth."
I ran to the 6th gate. I stepped into a different room now. A man and woman were being stabbed, their wounds healing almost immediately, just like everyone else. Another person was being buried alive, and someone else was being hit and jabbed with a floating metal bar. I knew who these people were. Murderers. Being harmed the way they killed their victims. The exit was the 7th gate. The final one. This nightmare is almost over. It's almost over, I said to myself. I was outside. There was a man wearing a shroud over his head, coated with explosives. He blew up, regenerated, and blew up again. Another one was being beaten, stabbed by a sharp metal object, and burned like torches, lighters, and matches. They were held by people who looked like shadows. One of them came to me and said,
"They are the mass murderers, the terrorists, the suicide bombers. I am a shadow of one of their victims, beating them and taking revenge for killing us on Earth."
I ran to the exit. When I woke up in the morning, I became terribly scared. The images of what I saw ran through my head. In fact, that was all I could think about for the whole year. It became Halloween again, and I didn't dare go outside that night. I just went to bed. It took me a while to sleep. When I did, I was in front of the first gate of hell. There was a teenager like me, staring at me. He was shocked to see me. My body became numb and I could not control myself again. I said to him in a scratchy, dying tone,
Lever stign vesselus maglev.
I chuckled and opened the gate for him. After he went inside with an expression that looked like he was fighting something and struggling, I looked at myself in the reflection of a goblet filled with what looked like blood. I saw the gatekeeper. I became the gatekeeper. In fact,
I am the gatekeeper.
One close to home. Indeed, the 7 gates of hell, a name most aptly chosen, unfurls a sinister voyage into the enigmatic world of the demonic plane. It has piqued my professional curiosity, leading me to delve into this mysterious tale. Initially brushed aside as mere superstitious folklore, these 7 gates have transformed into a subject of profound interest, compelling yours truly to subject it to my personal scrutiny. Upon the eve of All Hallows Eve, now known to most as Halloween, in the comforting embrace of slumber, a dreamer found themselves immersed in a nightmarish conflagration. Their dreamscape played host to a figure of imposing stature, a perhaps spectral entity, one might say, with eyes marked by the passage of time and a physique seemingly on the brink of fragility. This rather enigmatic being uttered some cryptic words. The dreamer, bereft of bodily control, was compelled to advance onward. So as the tale unfolds, the dreamer encounters a succession of grim scenarios, each more unsettling than the last. Upon their awakening, the horrors witnessed lingered in their thoughts, haunting them throughout the following year. The approach of the next Halloween compelled them to shun the night, avoiding ventures beyond their doorstep after nightfall. Succumbing to slumber's embrace once more, they found themselves transformed into a quite familiar and enigmatic guardian, forever bound to the dark enigma they had encountered. The 7 Gates of Hell presents itself as a rather disconcerting journey, a descent into the depths of human depravity, and a perilous yet unpredictable world of the demonic plane. It serves as a rather effective warning of the shadows of the mind that can suddenly envelop those who are unprepared to venture beyond the boundaries of the known, where innocence is lost, guilt festers, and power corrupts. In my humble opinion, this further warns against the pursuit of forbidden paths, revealing in the end the twisted toll it takes to tread there where darkness beckons. The devil may be no liar, but he certainly is a